Alright folks, welcome back to the next episode of Math4Bronx. Alright folks, welcome back to the next lecture in Math4Bronx. Today we're going to prove the Pythagorean theorem using dissection. So let's start with a right triangle. So this is a right triangle, meaning it's a triangle with three sides and a right angle. And a right triangle is going to have three squares attached to each of its sides. So here's my first square. Okay, here's my first square, and this square has a side length of a, and so its area will be a squared. Likewise, I'm going to have a second square attached to the second side of my right triangle, and this square is going to have a side length of b, and thus its area is going to be b squared. And finally, I'm going to have a third side, let's call it c, and so it's going to be drawn like this because it is the biggest square, and its area is going to be c times c, which is going to be c squared. Now, how do we prove the Pythagorean theorem? Well, to prove it, I'm going to take this configuration and rotate it so that this yellow square is on the bottom, it's on the ground. So that's going to look something like this. So your c squared square is on the ground, and your triangle, your blue triangle, is going to look something like this. And so your green and your orange squares are going to be attached to this smaller triangle, to the smaller configuration. So how can we draw that? So let's draw our green square first. Here's our green square, has a side length of a, right? And how about our orange square? Here's our orange square. Okay, so I have my three triangles and my three squares, and now what can I do? I can actually bisect this square right here. All the action is going to happen right here. I'm going to draw an auxiliary line as such, cutting up this square as such. So it looks kind of like a random line, but it starts from this vertex of my yellow square and ends right here vertically. I'm also going to draw another auxiliary line as such, and so I've cut up my green square into four different parts. Now, what am I going to do with these four different parts? I'm going to place them on my yellow square. How so? Well, check it out. I can take each of these sections and put them like this. Okay, so I'm putting all of these kind of smaller pieces of my square right here. Okay, so each one of these four pieces have been placed right here. And now check out what I can do. Look what the remaining area here is. Look what this remaining area right here is. This remaining area here is what? Well, it's whatever I have left. It's b squared. This right here is b squared, and all of these smaller ones, they add up to a squared. They add up to a squared. These all add up to a squared. Okay, so now from this, what can we conclude? We can conclude we have b squared. We placed all of our a squareds here, and so we can conclude that we've just proved the Pythagorean theorem, which is that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, where c is our yellow square. And we can sum these squares up to get our final square. That's the Pythagorean theorem. Thanks for watching this lecture on Math4Bronx, sponsored by Brilliant.org.
Embedded plus MKO plus scaffolding equal learning. We believe anyone can learn anything. That's why our motto is memorization is a crime. And that's why we partnered with Brilliant.
Brilliant transforms math and science into hands-on activities so that you too can understand everything from first grade math to E equals MC squared. Barry Science Lab and Brilliant is your MKO, and will give you the scaffolding to expand your ZPD until you become the next Sir Isaac Newton or Albert Einstein.
Visit brilliant.org/Barry Science Lab today. And the first 50 of you to use that link will get a 20% discount on the Brilliant annual subscription.
Don't forget that you too can become the next Einstein. So let's fall in love with math and science.